Hello, everybody. This is Janice Masters, the Shaman Mama from janicemasters.com. And this is, we're going to do part 2 of this live stream about the topic of awakening, spiritual awakening. And this time, we had such a juicy conversation last time. And hey, Susan, thank you for being here. I'm hoping that I'll be able to see all the comments today. Yesterday I had a bit of a glitch in my group live stream, so assuming that we will have the miracle of flow today. And so we're going to be talking about spiritual awakening with respect to limits, boundaries, and new perspectives. There's something called the spiral path, which is what I base my life and my work on, which means that we are always traversing around it. Joan, hi, thank you for being here. What a nice surprise. We're always traversing through our issues. Each of us has our own core issues and more superficial issues, and we move through them repeatedly, which can be discouraging if you don't understand the nature of the spiral path, which is that we're always moving higher and deeper. Yes, your question, what do we do once the awakening hits us? Absolutely, we'll talk about that. And I suggest that you listen to the one from Tuesday, which talked a lot about things having to do with that question. So the spiral path is when we're moving through our issues over and over and over again. And sometimes that can be discouraging because we're like, oh God, I can't believe I'm dealing with daddy issues again. But it's never the same issue, and you're never the same person, because everything is always moving and changing. Energy is always in motion. And so on that spiral path, we go deeper and broader and higher, and our consciousness raises, and our healing deepens, and our perspective broadens. And it's such a cool process. It's really life. And so if we cannot resist it, and if we cannot pigeonhole the idea of moving through our issues again and again, then we can really allow ourselves to be elevated each time we make a pass through an issue, especially the core issues, which are always about self-esteem, self-worth. Am I lovable? Am I worthy? So today I'm going to do something I haven't done in a while. Because, you know, I was asking my intuition, should we be focusing on awakening again? And what part of awakening should we be focusing on? And given what we talked about last time, which I will go into in a moment to just kind of reiterate, I decided to pull a card from my favorite oracle deck, which is the Gaia Oracle deck. So I pulled a card with this particular live stream in mind, and here's what we've got. We've got Rising Above, and the subtext to that is clarity, freedom, solutions. Okay? So I'm going to read to you from the guidebook because it really fits with something very important that we talked about yesterday. Rising above, clarity, freedom, solution. The white dove depicted on this card flies high above the earth and is able to see things from a higher perspective. She suggests that you do the same. While you cannot do this physically, you can do it mentally by disconnecting emotionally from the present situation. No matter what the situation is, stop thinking about it. You are currently too close to see things clearly. A simple solution exists. This will become clear to you once you let go. Stop focusing on the situation for a while. Bring your awareness within. Close your eyes. Relax. Meditate. Surrender. Let go. Take a walk in the park. Dance. Have fun. Do whatever it takes to detach from things for a while, and the solution will become obvious when the time is right. And the affirmation is, I surrender this situation to the universal power of love. I trust that all is well in my life. I look at my life from a higher perspective. I am divinely guided. All is clear in my life. I am safe. So rising above. Okay, and the reason that I felt that this was so perfect for this particular live stream was that last time we talked about a couple of unpleasant situations, abusive situations actually, that had happened for some people who were on the call. And they began to talk about the fact that they must have attracted this. And I said, wait. Basically, stop the music here. No, let's not go there. Let's not assume that you attracted this because of your vibration, blah, blah, blah. You know, you don't need to blame yourself for somebody else's shitty behavior. What it really indicates, and this definitely has to do with awakening, is that you have moved beyond being a match for that kind of behavior, for that kind of energy. And that resonated so deeply with at least one of the women on the call, and I think another one as well. Yeah, I think, Susan, it resonated for you too. Roseanne, hi. Oh, what a nice surprise. Thank you for being here. So we're talking about how things really shift when we're in an awakening process. And those abusive situations that occurred didn't occur because something in your vibration attracted it. On the contrary, it occurred because you have risen above that kind of behavior. You're no longer a match for it. That was abundantly clear, and that's how you responded. You responded by basically, one woman said, I immediately got on a plane for Fort Lauderdale. She left the relationship. The other person said, I basically love this person, but I no longer have contact with him. Okay, so rising above is the theme when we're talking about awakening, because awakening is about higher consciousness. Hello, my wonderful friend. So today we're going to talk about how we shift as we're in an awakening process. And Joan, this will speak to your question of what do you do with awakening when it hits? Okay, you know that it hits because you feel like the rug's been pulled out from under you. You feel like you're not really sure what to do next, who you are. There are a lot of questions. I mean, it can range anywhere, as I spoke about last time, from being totally fragmented, as I was in my mid-20s, to having a bump in the road with your work or with a friendship, okay? And so what this does is it points us in the direction of, okay, something has shifted in you. The vibe is different. The old rules and limits and boundaries don't work anymore. So where you might have put up with some really sketchy behavior in a relationship, you're just not having it anymore. And it almost isn't that you made a conscious decision. It's that you're just not a match for it anymore. It's totally out of the question. All right. And so you find yourself, this has been happening with a client of mine, you find yourself spontaneously saying things, doing things that are out of basically what is a new iteration of you. Okay. Because that's really what awakening is about. We're awakening to another level of ourselves. So this client of mine who has been a giver, in the dictionary next to the word giver, her picture, because supreme, ultimate, gold star giver. And what she's been hearing inside of herself lately and acting out of is, there might be a need here in front of me, but every need is not mine to attend to. That's such a huge shift for her. And it wasn't like she sat down and said, okay, I have to set a new boundary and a new limit. No, it's just this is because of the way she's been processing in our work together and unraveling the knots of codependency. She's spontaneously coming to, hey, I'm not doing that anymore. She told me about a situation recently where she hadn't had contact with a couple of people, a couple of friends that she usually has nice contact with, and they hadn't gotten in touch with her. And she decided, you know what? I'm just not chasing anybody anymore. I'm not doing all the work of staying in touch in a relationship. And so she let it go. She wasn't angry. She wasn't bitter. She was just like, this is how I take care of myself now. I don't go running after people. And within the next couple of days, both of those people contacted her to get together for really fun things because they really wanted to see her. So we're looking at, the layering of surrendering an old way of being and old behaviors, and how that shifts us and our reality into a different vibrational alignment. This really is in line with the Facebook group that I have, which is called Conscious Woman's Miracle Circle. Because we're not just, I say it's not your mama's law of attraction group, because it really isn't. Yes, we're playing with the law of attraction, but believe me, we're playing with much deeper levels of looking at our core issues and surrendering and shifting and healing and opening. And that's what, it's like that tills the soil for you to plant the seed of the miracle. Okay, you remember in that movie, The Secret, where you see the little shoot is about to come up and they say, oh, don't give up before it. Okay, but before that happens, because that was a very simplistic portrayal of how miracles happen. Before that happens, you've got to till the soil, and there are many ways to do that. So questions so far? I want to address Joan's question directly. What do you do with a new awakening? You pay very close attention. Okay, it's not so much a doing as it is a being, a willingness to be with the new experience that you're in. And that might mean facing the fact that you don't want to hang out with certain people anymore. Or somebody you thought was your friend, turns out their vibration is really icky for you now. Or could even be in a primary relationship, a marriage. Could be about your work, that it's not a fit anymore. Something just feels off. It doesn't feel as fulfilling. So rather than rushing to limits, boundaries, new perspective, the first thing to do with what Joan called a new awakening is to sit still and to listen. And this is where journaling is extremely valuable. And one of the things that I like to suggest, if you've been around me for a while, you know that I really like doing what I call out loud journaling. So what I do is I take my phone and I open the email program and I address an email to myself, and then I hit the microphone and I start to talk. Because I can talk faster than I can write. And particularly when you are in the fertile place of awakening, stuff is coming up. A lot of stuff is coming up. And so speaking it into your phone and then sending it to yourself is a really great way to get a sense of where am I today? Where am I right now? So how's everybody doing with this? I'm not seeing any more comments or anybody else having joined, but this is like what happened yesterday. Let me see if I can scroll down. No, that doesn't seem to be wanting to scroll. So I don't know if anybody else is here or if any comments have come up, but I'm waiting for somebody to chime in. And I'm going to come back to this again. Okay. Awakening is all about rising above your current level of vibration. Susan says, I've recently had to pull the plug on feeling another's issues are mine to help fix. The more I did, the more I got to do. Now I can't help it, so it gave me the out I needed. Now I can't help, so it gave me the out I needed without having to face a backlash. After I just said no, oh my God, yeah, I felt my vibration soar. Absolutely. You got the awareness that it wasn't yours to do. Just like my client got the awareness that every need wasn't hers to fill. And what I love is what you said, which is about this. which is that after you said no, you felt your vibration soar. And knowing what I know about what's going on in your life right now, what a fabulous time to have a vibration soaring through the roof, breaking through any personal glass ceiling that might have kept you down lower than you need to be. Another thing I love that you said here in this comment is the more I did, the more I got to do. Yeah, because look, if people get, oh, she's available to help, she's available to do the heavy lifting, the more they will put on you to do. And sometimes it's even an unconscious thing. It's not even necessarily conscious or malicious or narcissistic, because that's the buzzword lately. It's just human. But you figured out, I can't help. So it gave me an out. Good for you. Good for you. I want to keep coming back to this because it's all about this. It's all about soaring. It's all about rising above. It's all about embracing where we are right now as human beings. And look, I'm not suggesting, and again, if you've been around me for a while, you understand. I'm not suggesting that we are pendulums that only swing one way and it's all bunnies and rainbows and flowers. No, of course it isn't. We are pendulums, human pendulums, that swing two ways. Into light and out of light into shadow, and then out of shadow into light, and back and forth ad infinitum, because that's what we're wired for. And the shadow has a way, if we're willing to pay attention, the shadow has a purpose. The shadow can lead us back into light. But first we have to acknowledge that we have shadow. You know, it's like if you're outside and suddenly you feel chilly. This happens to me. And you realize, oh, I'm standing in the shade. If I just take 5 steps forward, I'll be in the sunshine. Now, that's a very simplistic description, but having done a lot of shadow work with myself and with my clients and students, that is what it's about. First, you have to acknowledge, oh, I'm in shadow. Well, how do we acknowledge that? And I don't want to get off on a shadow tangent here, but rising above, shadow necessarily is part of the awakening process. So, Joan, that's another piece of it. We pay attention and we look at what shadow is salient right now, that needs and wants our attention and our acceptance and our love, so that we can embrace it and release it. Every part of us, no matter how shadowy or negative it may seem, every part of us wants just one thing, and that is for us to love it and accept it. You know, there are all these hungry little kids inside of us who didn't get all of their needs met, because that's who gets all of their needs met in a normal family. You know, we've got families existing along a continuum from horribly abusive to as close to perfection as humanly possible, and everything in between. And if the definition of functional is everybody's needs get met, somewhere along the line, you know, it's like that framed thing people put on their kitchen wall. You know, I can only meet one person's needs today, and so it's not looking good for you. Okay, so that's how it is as kids growing up. Not all of our needs get met, and so things get shoved into shadow. They get shoved into the closet. So another question, another comment. Keep remembering that awakening is about this. Keep this image in your mind and keep the words rising above. And that, again, it doesn't mean forcing yourself to rise above. It means if you stay with it and accept it long enough, you will naturally rise above. And that's what your awakening is about. Rising into the next iteration of your amazing self. That's why we call it higher consciousness. Because we humans live in a spatial universe. And so high and low have meaning to us. Higher means good when it comes to consciousness, okay? So I'm going to share again that I have a very inexpensive, under $20, online course that you can play with the soul plans that may have led to the challenges that have triggered your awakening. And the name of this course is Who Signed Me Up for This? With an emphasis on the this. I will put a link to that in the comments. I also announced the other day that I am available for channeling sessions, 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And that is something that I have done in the past, and I have not really publicized that I do this. It's not even on my website, but I do, and I would love to assist you in that way. And I also want to invite you to join my free Facebook group, which is called the Conscious Woman's Miracle Circle. So I think if you just put in, I'll put the link to that as well in the comments, but if you put in Woman's Miracle Circle, you'll find it. It's free, and as I said, it's not your mama's law of attraction group, because we go deep and we get miracles. Yes, we do. So I love you all. Thank you so much for showing up, and I'll see you next Tuesday and Thursday every week right here on this page. Hope you have a beautiful day and a wonderful weekend. Love you. This is Janice Masters, the Shaman Mama, from janicemasters.com. Bye.